With Final Destination Bloodlines, Death's plan is seldom thwarted, which results in yet another fatal outcome for the series. The sixth installment of the horror series reimagines the canon by appearing to link all of the entries as a component of Death's overarching scheme. The plot of Final Destination Bloodlines begins to unravel as the direct descendants of Iris' bloodline start dying from oldest to youngest, after the introduction of the main cast of characters and Stefani's premonitions about her grandmother Iris and the Skyview tragedy. The chain of events begins with Iris' uncle Howard passing away soon after Stefani, followed by her cousins Julia, Erik, and Bobby. During the climax of Final Destination Bloodlines, Stefani, her brother Charlie, and their mother, Darlene, are the only remaining members of Iris' bloodline. They seek refuge at Iris' home, but death catches them. Darlene dies soon after saving Charlie. After death seems to revive her after she drowns, Charlie and Stefani think they have broken his cycle. They seem to achieve their joyous conclusion by utilizing the loophole idea from Final Destination 2. In this series, however, this rarely occurs, which causes Stefani and Charlie to pass away in the final scene. The major disclosure of the conclusion of Final Destination Bloodlines is that Stefani and Charlie did not manage to end Death's cycle. They believe that this was accomplished by adhering to William Bloodworth's guidance. He verifies the two known exceptions to Death's rules earlier in the movie. The conclusion of Final Destination 2 proposed that breaking the cycle might involve dying, or flatlining, followed by resuscitation. Then, Final Destination 5 included the loophole that murdering an innocent person would effectively give the murderer the victim's remaining years of life. Following Stefani's drowning on Iris' property, Charlie thinks he brings her back from the dead. Stefani is trapped when water fills the car due to a seatbelt malfunction, and Darlene's RV flips over after the house explodes. The screen fades to black as her eyes close, indicating that she passes away, but then she is shown outside the RV with Charlie assisting her in regaining her breath. They have no doubt that, similar to what happened to Kimberly Corman in Final Destination 2, he revived her after she died. But it turns out that Stefani didn't really die. Charlie's prom date's father, who is a doctor, informs them of this, speculating that Stefani was simply unconscious prior to her brother saving her. After all, they didn't defeat death. They have, however, lowered their defenses and permitted death to carry out an absurdly intricate sequence of events that results in their demise. Right before the credits for Final Destination Bloodlines begin to roll, Death breaks the cycle by murdering and resurrecting Stefani, then having enormous logs smash Stefani and Charlie, effectively wiping out Iris' bloodline. I was certain that Erik would have a horrible demise after the marketing teased the tattoo parlor scene with him. However, the cause and manner of the events in Final Destination Bloodlines were a surprise. Against all odds, he doesn't perish in the tattoo shop fire, and he avoids a few other close calls the next day, only for Julia to die. This is due to the fact that Iris is not a biological relative of him, and as a result, he is not included in Death's strategy. Howard was not Erik's father, though neither he nor anybody else in the family knew it. He was actually born from Brenda's infidelity. From the perspective of the rest of the family, this provides Erik with an escape. Because Death is targeting Iris's immediate lineage, anyone not related to her by blood is safe. This included Brenda and Stefani's father, with Erik then also becoming the third family member who should have survived. However, after finding the loopholes from Bloodworth, Final Destination Bloodlines nevertheless murders Erik. A wheelchair being pulled into an overpowered MRI machine crushes Erik, killing him. Given the regulations set out in Final Destination Bloodlines, Erik's demise is unexpected, and even Charlie wonders aloud as to the reason for his passing. Erik passed away as a result of his attempt to interfere with Death's intentions. He wants Bobby to consume peanuts in order to cause a life-threatening allergic reaction in the hopes that he will be able to bring him back to life later. But Death had different plans for Bobby. Death murdered Erik because he was trying to interfere with the master plan, allowing Bobby to experience the horrible destiny he was meant to live. Final Destination Bloodlines has a novel concept of using Iris' entire bloodline as Death's hit list, which appears to have enormous ramifications for the series. According to Iris' study, all Skyview incident survivors as well as their direct offspring have died since then. If Death's initial plan for the Skyview tower had come to pass, their biological relatives would have never existed. Therefore, Death is also destroying the bloodlines of the survivors, not just killing them. Although Iris gathered additional names and obituaries, the film does not provide a close-up view of them, but her investigation does make connections to earlier films. The novel includes illustrations of the plane from the first and fifth films of the franchise, as well as the log vehicle from the second film. This implies that everyone who has died in these films, or at least everyone who had premonitions, is descended from someone Iris helped save from Skyview, making Final Destination Bloodlines the series' biggest twist. The film, though, does not explicitly prove that this is the case. The revelation is really challenging to understand in the context of the franchise's canon. In the beginning of the series, Alex Browning, the franchise's star, is seen with both of his parents still living. The account of death scheme given in Final Destination Bloodlines is inconsistent with this unless either his mother or father is not his biological parent. The bloodline link across the whole series is left for a future Final Destination picture to establish because it is not hypothesized to be the case. Although it is common for the protagonist in a Final Destination film to have premonitions, Stefani's premonitions are unique. She never experiences a foreboding about her own passing or the passing of her mother, brother, cousins, or uncle. She experiences the same premonition that her grandmother Iris had about 60 years ago. Why Stefani begins to experience nightmares about Iris's foresight is unknown. The fact that Iris is dying is the closest the film comes to explaining this connection. 2 months ago, she received a cancer diagnosis, and around the same time, Stefani started having nightmares. Iris's premonition, which she had decades earlier, inexplicably transfers to her granddaughter. One possibility is that death planted these nightmares in Stefani. Knowing that Stefani might bring Iris's grandma out for the first time in 20 years, it may have been a component of Death's plot to murder Iris. Tony Todd reprises his role as William Bloodworth in just one, rather excellent, scene in Final Destination Bloodlines. Since it is revealed that he was also intended to die on Skyview, this sequence turns out to be crucial. Iris rescued him, and as they both sought to avoid death and monitor its strategy, they established a friendship many years later. He goes outside the hospital to make the most of his remaining time, realizing that he is leaving this life behind him. Death will overtake him in some manner, according to Bloodworth. He's unwell, and he was supposed to be the last person to pass away in the Skyview event. Iris's death was intended to be followed by his own. Bloodworth knows that his days are numbered because of her death and the dwindling number of her surviving descendants. He's the next person on Death's list after Iris' family line is wiped out by the deaths of Stefani and Charlie. The Final Destination Bloodlines films, which are the sixth installment in a series that spans 25 years, do not have the same approach to establishing the future as the others. Since practically every victim of death passes away by the conclusion, there are few chances for recurring characters. The last chapter of Bloodlines concludes in the same manner. All of Iris's family members are verified to be deceased. The only individuals still alive in this tale are Stefani's father and aunt, but they are not likely to be seen again in future episodes. One way that this film might prepare the ground for Final Destination 7 is through the Bloodlines link. The next film may expand on this notion and perhaps switch the focus to Bloodworth's progeny following his passing. Furthermore, Final Destination 7 might now be a prequel that investigates the deaths of any of the numerous other Skyview incident survivors during the previous several decades. Thomas Burke and Kimberly Corman might also be brought back after Final Destination 2 and Final Destination 7, which could expand on a significant confirmation in Bloodlines. Although there was controversy over whether they actually escaped death's clutches in that movie, Bloodworth confirms in Bloodlines that Kimberly lived. Knowing that she is still alive opens the possibility for A.J. Cook to play Kimberly again, perhaps alongside Michael Landis as Burke. They may be the new people who help the new characters in Final Destination 7 learn how to avoid death, even if it could make them targets once more. Above all else, Bloodlines is a fun film that is intended to make viewers gasp as novel and well-planned death scenes occur. However, the movie still aims to convey certain fundamental themes and concepts. This tale depends on the value of family and that link, as the familial focus intensifies the grief and deaths. Families are seldom ideal. However, Bloodline stresses how important it is to support the people you care about during the worst of times. Additionally, in what turned out to be Tony Todd's last act, his speech conveys a straightforward message. Bloodworth advises Stefani and her family to live by the motto "life is precious" and enjoy every second. It really hits home considering Todd's real-life battle with his health, his life, and the little time he had left. Life will always have its ups and downs. Life is too short, as seen in the movie Final Destination Bloodlines, and we must make an effort to live it to the fullest. Hope you like this video. Stay tuned in this channel for latest upcoming updates on this series. And add a bookmark in this channel for further upcoming updates on movies, anime, and web series. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, please like, comment, and share our channel. And for latest updates, please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon.